Welcome to Parent Squad. I'm Felicia Lawrence. Back to school season is in full swing, and for many parents, that means a scramble to find before or after school care for their children. And we know that can be difficult and it can often be really expensive. Well, today I'm joined by AYS CEO Justin Armstrong to talk about the importance of quality care. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yes, as parents, we want the best for our kids. So what are some things that children should, or parents, well, and kids, but what are some things that parents should be looking for when they're choosing aftercare?
Yeah, well, when I get asked this question, I really kind of narrow it down to three things for them. And the first one, safety, which you'd think it should go unsaid, but we got to say it.
Yes.
And safety can look like a whole bunch of different things. Some of the things you may not think about that you ought to be tuned into is parent to child or adult to child ratio. Mm-hmm. You know, one adult with 25 preschoolers is never a good idea, even in the most safe facility.
You should never do it. Just for the mental, emotional stamina of an adult, you should not do that.
Correct. Anything over 5 minutes in that scenario is not a good idea. So again, that adult to child ratio is the facility set up to serve children of the given age? Sinks low enough, bathrooms low enough, those types of things.
Yes.
And then of course some of the obvious things are there chemicals locked away, and does the facility and the structure of the program support that? So
yes.
Definitely safety, number one. The other two things I tell them are the staff and the structure of the program. So with staff, you're looking for, are they communicative? Are they open, transparent? Every parent should be able to walk into a program no matter where it is, when they want to see it. In fact, in Indiana, that's actually part of our code. And so you want to make sure the staff aren't hiding. And, does your child like that staff person? Or at the very least, respect them. That's important. And then in terms of program structure, these kids have been in a program or in a school all day. Mm-hmm. And so when you're talking about before and after school, it doesn't need to be an extended school day. It shouldn't be an extended school day. These kids need to feel loved, right? They need to, how was your day? They need the individual attention. And so you have to make time for that in your program structure to welcome them and find out how their day was. You get to know the kids. You can adjust from there depending on how their day was. You want the structure to support getting homework done.
Yes.
And that things that a parent would do if they were there.
Yes.
Are what we're looking for. A healthy snack, and then play. And play should be free and structured. And so, at AYS, we really are making a concerted effort to engage these children with experiences. So whether it's 6 weeks of ukulele lessons, mm-hmm. or learning how to play lacrosse, or ballet, and bringing in the community where we're connecting and giving these kids an opportunity to have structured enrichments along with their free play, dodgeball, swinging on the swing set, whatever. And so I think really looking at that structure, you don't want it leaning, again, as an extended school day, but I also don't think it's good to have these kids just turn loose for 3 hours in a gym. Bouncing off the walls.
And good luck.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, I like what you're saying that, and particularly about safety being primary. And I know parents a lot of times have to get creative. So it could be at a facility with a professional provider or someone's home. And so those are the kinds of questions you want to start asking first. You mentioned specifically AYS. Obviously, mm-hmm. that's what you're representing. Tell us what AYS is, because we have viewers not only here in Central Indiana, but also they may or may not be familiar with it. And what are the programs that AYS has? Sure.
Well, AYS is a in-school, out-of-school time provider. So we set up inside the schools. It's great on a number of levels. Convenience for the parents, security for the kids. They're staying right in that school. So you don't have to worry about transportation, any of the risks associated with that,
right.
The costs right. associated with that. We've been around 50 years. We were started in 1980, almost 50 years. Mm-hmm. Started in 1980, and really as a response to the latchkey phenomenon that was beginning to happen with more and more homes having two parents working. So we've been doing this for a long time. Our typical programs, just like I said, you might not be surprised, that we set up where we have a structure, and our core value system is AYS feels like home. And it's this idea that we want to greet these children individually. We want to ask them how their day was, and respond accordingly, whether it was good or bad. They get homework help, they get a healthy snack, and then we deliver enrichments for them. But along the way, for us, we're working with the teachers and understanding where that child is. We're working with the parents, making sure there's a link there. I think if you're in a choice school and maybe you're driving across town because you want to go to this specific school,
yes,
we're able to set up communities in those places where, in the old days, it was the school was in the center of the neighborhood and everybody came in and went out. We miss some of that with school choice. And so we're really being conscientious and setting that up as well.
And it sounds like there's a focus on the whole child, which is important.
Completely. The whole family, I would say, because the other thing that starts to happen too within these families and these kids, you start to build social networks. And we know too, for parents and families, having that social network, especially around schools and your children's vital as well. Somebody to bounce ideas on. Hey, my child wants to do this.
Absolutely.
Do you agree with that?
That's how you learn about the programs. Look, for the new moms out there, he's 2, my kid is 2 now, and so that's how you learn about the different programs and activities. We know a lot of parents also debate when their kids are old enough to stay home. Things start looking different at age 11, 12, 13. What are some things parents should consider when they are beginning to make that decision?
Sure. Well, the first thing I will tell you, at AYS programs, we don't allow screens, and we emphasize getting outside.
I love it.
Again, that screen time. There's a place for screen time. It's a tool.
Yes, it's a part of most schools' curriculums now.
Correct, and when you go home and you've had a long day at work, but you have to make dinner, it's kind of nice. So as a parent, to be able to have that and say, hey, you can play this educational game or FaceTime your grandma. It's a tool for a parent too to create a little space, and so we don't want to take that from them. And so, for me, considering all of that, I think that the question really is, what's my child missing if they go home alone?
Okay.
And so again, for us, we have programs that go up to middle school for a reason. In fact, we're seeing our middle school programs really start to, from an enrollment process, really start to drive up as schools shift and start later in the middle schools. 8:30, I got an 18-year-old, and I don't know that I would trust him to get on the bus to get to school in the morning still. So as we expand those out and work with these older kids, I think it gives them an opportunity, again, for that social connection, for adult-child relationships, and to be able to build those is vital. It takes a community, right?
Absolutely.
And you think, what does that child miss if they're not in that program? Well, they're going home alone. They're put in a position where they can spend as much screen time as they like.
Yes, you end up getting a lot of freedoms versus the latchkey kids. It was, you go home, you're eating cereal and television, don't open the door to strangers.
Right.
Well, now it's open to the world with the World Wide Web, so it's a little bit different.
It is amazing. And, Discord and talk channels on the gaming systems.
Yeah, something for parents to certainly be aware of. Another huge barrier before or after school care is cost. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because parents are also looking at that. They're weighing that.
Sure. At the cost is a barrier and is an issue across the board for our types of programs. I would encourage parents to don't give up and don't write it off. In terms of the federal government still has a child care development fund. In Indiana, that fund is going through some changes without a doubt, but I do see and
more
hear
funding that's going towards it.
Correct, and there's an interest in it, and so stay vigilant in watching out for those opportunities. Talk to your provider. There is, in AYS, we have a sliding fee scale that goes up to 200% of poverty, so well beyond what the CCDF vouchers might support. So we understand that, and we want your child to be safe. As a not-for-profit, that's our number one mission. I also think when you look at multiple children discounts, can be included in those things. So again, if you have 2 or 3 kids, that's where we see it become really a huge obstacle. And so
Absolutely.
look at those opportunities. And then the other thing is look into programs and understand what they're offering. Some programs, ours do as well, give you a 1 or 2 day option. So instead of just going cold turkey on you're going home alone, maybe ease into it over a year or 2 and take advantage of those 1 and 2 day
That's awesome too.
programs. Yeah, it allows you to kind of see where every child's different.
Yeah,
and
which is why it's hard to give just blanket advice like, oh, age 12 is a good age to
Right.
start staying at home. Also, we know availability can be an issue as well because there are so few programs and everybody wants access to these resources. What would be your advice as far as that?
Again, just keep talking to your provider. Stay vigilant. Check in. What happens a lot is we have an enrollment number and we have a capacity based on the space we have. And so you hit those enrollments, but once school starts and you see who's coming on a regular basis and you see what your average daily attendance is, you're able to free up more spaces. So spaces are opening all the time. So again, talk to your provider. If there is a huge obstacle or issue you have by not having this program, tell them that too.
Okay.
You never know what can come of that.
Yeah, it sounds like parents still have to be open, but I guess I would put that vigilant and staying persistent, put those words along with that question as well.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming in to just share a little bit more about AYS, the approach, and to try to ask some questions that get parents to think about what is best for their child and how to approach that. I think is important. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Certainly. So we have a link with more info at WTHR.com/Parent Squad, so you can find more info out about AYS. Still ahead, we're talking back to school tech rules with the City Moms.